The SCHD ETF has been my main position that I've been buying on a daily basis now for over a year. And as of filming this video, I'm sitting at around 500 shares of SCHD throughout my multiple dividend growth portfolios. Now in this video, I'm going to share with you why I've been buying so much SCHD ETF and why I continue to do so. Then later on, I'm going to show you the exact math on how much money I am bound to end up with when it comes time for retirement. Now, if you hold any SCHD ETF or plan on it, make sure you stick around until the end because this math is crazy and is definitely going to motivate the heck out of you. I just finished my brand new dividend investing ebook where I share exactly how I went from zero to now over 7 figures invested, and also on how I earned more than $6,000 per month in dividends. I also finished my custom dividend tracker that you can use to track your dividend income progress on an ongoing basis. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. So this right here is just the last 60 days on one of my dividend growth portfolios, showing that I buy around a share or two of SCHD every single day. And what's crazy is that if we were to go back to 2023, you can see that I've been practicing what I preach for a while now. Now, the main reason I'm personally choosing to buy the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF on a daily basis and why I'm trying to load up on around 500 shares of SCHD every single year from here on out is simply put because I believe in the ETF's objective long term, which is to track as closely before fees and expenses the total return of the Dow Jones US Dividend 100 Index. And if you want me to go more in depth on what this index is and how it works, comment down below because I'm more than willing to make a video on that sometime soon here. But to be even more specific, the reason why I'm buying so much SCHD on a daily basis and why I plan to do so for many years now is because I'm looking for an investment vehicle that not only offers a high quality basket of holdings, which SCHD does, but also offers capital appreciation, which this ETF has definitely done long term. Considering back around 12 or 13 years ago, the ETF was trading around $24 per share, now over $75 per share. But maybe most important for me personally, and again, everyone has their own objectives, everyone has their own strategy, but for me personally, as a 31-year-old dividend growth investor that is looking to probably use some of my dividend income to cover bills, maybe within the next 5 years even, and again, things can change, but maybe I'm looking to use some of the dividend income. That means that I'm going to want to find an ETF that offers a decent starting dividend yield so I can maximize my cash flow and get a good amount of dividend income coming in from day one. Now, not only does SCHD offer a nice starting dividend yield of around 3.5%, and depending on where you bought SCHD over the last year, you could even have had some shares with a 4% starting yield. But because cash flow is so important to me, also what I look for as a long-term dividend growth investor is an ETF and of course stocks that offer a higher than average dividend growth rate. Now, dividend growth rate is basically how much year over year a stock or ETF pays in dividends. Like for example, in 2013, SCHD paid around 90 cents per share per year, and in 2014 around $1.05, which gave the ETF a 15.8% annual payout growth. Now, dividend growth rate is probably one of the most important metrics for dividend-focused investors that do want to build a massive compounding portfolio long-term, because simply put, whatever you buy the investment for today, you're most likely going to get paid more and more in dividends long-term, or at least that's the idea there. For a simple example of how that works, for SCHD, back in December of 2013, so around 10 or so years ago, for every single share of SCHD that an investor would have owned, they would have received a 25-cent dividend, where just as of recently, last December in 2023, every single share that a SCHD investor owned, they received 74 cents per share. So basically, more or less 3 times as much cash flow within a 10-year time frame. Now, I get it, 25 cents up to 74 cents doesn't really seem like it's going to make or break anyone's life, but keep in mind, if you keep investing long term and if you stack up 100 shares, 500 shares, or even thousands of shares, this can definitely impact your life and is exactly the path that I'm trying to take. Now, as of right now on a daily basis, I'm purchasing a minimum of 2 shares of SCHD every single day. Throughout my portfolios, I might buy a share in one portfolio, maybe a share in a different portfolio. It really depends on where I have cash balance and where dividends are landing, etc. Now, because there's around 252 trading days in a year, if we were to take the 2 shares of SCHD that I'm looking to buy on a daily basis, which is around $150 worth, if SCHD is trading at right around $70 or $75 per share, and again, keep in mind, guys, this is all just estimated. That says that I'm going to spend around $37,500 per year on SCHD. Now, to get an idea of my exact plan and what I'm trying to end up with when it comes time to retire, when it comes to the one and only position of SCHD, and keep in mind, guys, I do have other stocks and ETFs across my portfolios, but as of right now, as a 31-year-old dividend growth investor, I currently have around $35,000 worth of SCHD because I have more or less 500 to 550 shares across all my portfolios with an initial yield on cost of around 3.6%. Now with my 2 shares per day minimum, we're looking at a $37,500 annual contribution with an 8% annual dividend amount increase, which keep in mind some years are going to be much lower, some years might be higher, but let's just average it out at 8%, and again, only estimations here. A 3% annual share price appreciation amount, which again could be lower or higher, 30 years invested. So this is going to give us an idea of what I can end up with if I stop doing this by the time I'm 61 years old, which again, side note, I will probably likely start living off my dividends much sooner, but just to give you an idea of what's possible. The other important things to note is that the distribution is of course quarterly for SCHD, and dividend reinvestment is going to be turned on because I'm reinvesting all the money I get, as of right now at least, into more shares of SCHD. So the numbers are in, and this is what we're looking at, guys. A $35,000 starting principal, which is what I have right now, gives me around $1,277 per year in dividends, which is pretty accurate. But by year number 2, after I contribute that $37,500 and reinvest all the dividends back in, we're looking at a $74,000 principal of SCHD with around $2,800 per year in dividends. Now just to skip down a little bit, by year number 5, $209,000 with almost $9,300 per year in dividends. And again, remember, this is 2 shares per day throughout the entire year. Now by year number 10, I'll be 41 years old at this point, more or less, with $513,000 of SCHD and around $29,000 per year in dividends. By year number 15, at this point, I'd be around 46 years old, almost $1 million of SCHD and $70,000 per year in dividends. 20 years from now, $1.8 million and $164,000 in dividends per year. Now from year number 20 to 30, the numbers get absolutely massive. And again, massive numbers are always going to be relative compared to what your expenses are and where you're at. But for me personally, these numbers are massive. So by year number 25, we're looking at $3.3 million worth of SCHD with around $400,000 per year in dividends. Now, like I said earlier, I'm most likely going to start using the dividends much sooner than this because I really don't see a reason why to keep compounding things till I'm 61 years old, if well before then I have enough to cover all my bills and then some. But just to give you an idea, 30 years from now, we would have $6.7 million and around $1 million per year in dividends, which is absolutely insane. Now, what's cool about a long-term dividend growth investing strategy is that you can, of course, change this with whatever works for you. If you have a larger starting principal or a smaller starting principal, if you want to add more or less on a yearly basis, and of course, if you want to invest in something that maybe offers a higher dividend yield or a lower dividend yield, higher dividend growth rate or lower dividend growth rate, it's going to be an individual journey, which is awesome. But either way, it does go to show that just buying around 2 shares per day, which I get it, not everyone has the amount of cash balance to buy 2 shares per day, and some people have way more than that. But 2 shares of SCHD per day with a nice starting principal can build a massive life-changing amount of wealth when it comes time to retire. But now I want to hear from you guys down below if you currently own any SCHD ETF. Comment down below how many shares you have as of right now, and let us know what your goal is for the amount of shares that you're going to have by the end of this year. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.